And I want to tell you, you can pursue your dreams. Those of you that want to cut down their weight, kindly, please do. Have a plan, be committed, be focused. You'll definitely have that. Hello there, this is Dr. Susan Gitau. Today I will be helping you to unpack your self-concept. Do you really know who you are? Do you really accept who you are? Can you help somebody else know who they are? Can you help yourself to deepen your self-awareness, understanding, and acceptance? And so today I'll be talking about unpacking your self-concept. The minute you hear of the word self-concept, the word self talks about I, concept is an idea. It's basically talking about the idea of yourself. How do you conceptualize who you are? How do you perceive yourself? Before I delve into the components of unpacking the self-concept model, I would like you to know that by the time you get to where you are, there are many systems that have contributed to who you are. And the systems I'm going to basically focus on are the socialization systems or agents that have brought the who you are right now. The first system is your family, and that is your mother, your father, your siblings. The way you are, they have greatly contributed. And you can start looking at some of the traits and behaviors that you have and your siblings also have, or your parents have, or they had if they are no longer alive. You may find that the other system that has really contributed to who you are is the school system. The type of a school you attended has a lot of impact on how you developed, especially from the age of maybe 4 years or even earlier as 3 years for those who do the ECD from 3 years. But maybe the one you can remember a little bit more is 6 years going all the way to around 12 years. Whatever that school made sure that every student is able to embrace, assimilate, and project, you are given that. And if you also go to the senior school, you will find that every school has its own culture and the way of life and the core values. Has that influenced the way you are today? I like telling people when my primary school was more or less, yes, it was there, but it really didn't have a concrete culture or core values. And I can't remember much. The only thing I know I can remember is that I played much, a lot. I played a lot. But I also used to lead a group of pupils who thought I was very smart. But when I look back in retrospect, I realize it's the learning and the teaching methodology, the personal touch, pupil and teacher that was somehow fragmented. But so long as you're a bright child and you're able to read on your own and make learning easy for yourself, you will be the teacher's favorite. So I can remember my high school. My high school was a little bit more formative because I went to a strict Catholic school. Discipline was high notch. The routine, everyday routine was followed to the letter. And I think that instilled in me a sense of discipline, and especially in time management and self-control and self-regulation and organization. But it also taught me to keep quiet. Yeah, with my problems. I think I stayed for a long time without really talking about my problems. But one thing I know I carried from my school that I think I carried to heart is that heart to serve. Our motto was learn to serve. And everybody that entered that compound knew there were people ready to serve you. And I think that has been my life and I'm happy about it and very proud of it. I'm always ready to serve where I can and when I'm in good shape and health to do so. The other one is university, and I think university, again, it all depends how organized and how close is the university community. Because some universities, nobody cares about what you do, who you are. The only thing they'll care about is your grade. And in that sense, you may find that you really don't have close relationships. But it also happens to be a moment you are a young adult. And so you're trying to get hooked to the people you call the love of your life, or people you may want to settle down with in future, in marriage or intimate relationships. The other one is the community where one lives. Where you live, how do people behave? That community. It could be as small as the estate where you live. It could be as big as the whole maybe sub-county or county, or it could be the community that is ethnic in nature. How has that impacted your life today? It's good to do that stock taking. The other one we can talk about is the political system, your country. I don't know what kind of political system you operate in, but it's good to ask, has this also contributed to the way I am, the way I see myself? Very, very important. Peers are everywhere across the board, although they are more powerful in teenage or adolescence. But even in adulthood, there are people who behave as their peers. The peers mean so much to them. The other one is a faith-based institution where you prescribe your faith, especially where you think about you and your relationship with your higher power. Has it also contributed to the way you are today? So all these are things sometimes people take for granted, or if they know about them, they just teach about them or they hear about them. But today I'm asking you to go inward and deeper and find out, how did my family impact my life today? What about my school? What about my peers? What about my faith-based institution, church, mosque, temple, synagogue? You know, how? What about the society at large? What about that small community where you grew up in? Could even be a village. Like I tell people, I grew up from the age of 8 years to the age of 25 years in a slum. And for the 17 years I lived in the slum village, I can attest to you, I picked a bit of values and behavior that I'm happy about. Very creative, because every day you're faced with challenges and you have to think how you're going to solve your problems. I also picked a lot of boldness and courage from the slum, because you almost feel like there's no one to fight for you. It has to be you. And I think I love that to a very big extent, because it created a sense of independence and a sense of inner self-drive, that if I have to make it, if things have to be successful, then it has to be me taking the lead and taking the first step. I also learned to give from the slum, because I realized there are very many people who are needy. And just the same way I really wanted people to give me, I am able to now feel and be compassionate for the needy people. I can also say that I learned resilience. Sometimes going without food for a day, too. Walking without shoes. It's cold. It's hot. Having your uniform torn and you're not sure whether tomorrow you will have uniform to go to school. Living in a life that you cannot predict how tomorrow is going to be. Yet I lived. That's resilience. I don't know. From all those systems, what did you learn? Assuming all those systems contributed positively, negatively, the way you are today. But here I am talking to you and unpacking the person that has been brought to be today. And I will actually take the self-concept model in 4 components or dimensions or elements. The body image. Definitely you look like someone, either your mother, your father, or both. Even the ones that don't know their parents, just know the way you look. It was either your mother or your father. Sometimes our body image, we may need to unpack again. Do I know all my features? Can I be asked about the way I appear physically and I'm able to just say this is the way I am? Some people don't even know their complexion, right? Are you aware that you're very unique? Do you know your unique features? Yeah, like I always say, talk about my small nose, you know? Generally, not very many people have small nose like mine, but it makes me very unique, I tell you, right? But do you know those features? Do you know parts of your body that you don't like? You'd wish for something different. And how are you dealing with that? Do you have special birthmarks? And some people, however they don't, however much they don't like those birthmarks, sometimes they can be the only mark that can be used to identify who you are. I remember in my country when we had lots of terrorist attacks and we lost many students in one of our local universities. And one parent, when we were identifying bodies in the morgue, said, I would tell whether that's my son or my daughter if I'm able to spot a mark somewhere. So it's not all that is bad, and especially those birthmarks that we may have gotten. Sometimes it could be you went through an accident, sometimes it could be through a surgery. But how do you accept that you, with the changed physical marks and whatever could have happened to you, do you accept yourself that way? I know it's difficult, but what would it take for you to accept the way you appear physically? There are some people who really get disturbed, and the more they get disturbed, the more they cannot accept themselves and the more they struggle. And there is no other like you physically, by the way, and that should make you feel a little bit more confident and proud of your uniqueness. But do you do that? I'm not sure. I don't know. But if you do, if we talk about the self-image, it's like asking you, looking at yourself in the mirror, do you like what you see? Do you mirror the person that you'd like to see in the world? Do you mirror the person that you'd like to see? It's like a pack of you with your values, with your attitudes, with your skills, your competencies, and your weaknesses as well. Do you really know that each one of us is blessed quite differently? We do have people with very competent skills, maybe in sewing, maybe in cooking, and it comes out so naturally. So it's more of a gift or a talent. We have those who don't have to be nurtured to cook. Some of us had to be trained to cook, but there are others, it just comes out so naturally. Drawing and all that. Are you aware? And if you see today that there are things you knew when you were a child, but they were killed desperately, maybe by your parents, by the teachers, you may not want to repeat that with your children or with the young ones who come your way. Maybe the other thing I would like is that do you know your weaknesses and do you accept them? Some things that we call weaknesses ideally could be strengths. Like people who say, I'm a giver, I'm so generous, I give till I can't give no more. They may think it's a weakness, but to me it can only be a weakness if you give and you're hurting. But if you're giving and it's fulfilling you, give, you will continuously receive. That's it. The universe will always give you what you give it back. The law of karma, they say. And I think for me, that's a real test. You give, you receive. And so the only time I have said is when you give and it's paining you, in a manner that it's almost very stressful, distressing and traumatic, or you're giving at the expense of your own family or significant others. They shouldn't lack because of your giving. But if you're a giver, be ready to receive. Some people have weaknesses of gossiping, others have weaknesses of witch hunting. Some of those weaknesses may not be very good anyway, unless you're working as an investigator, a forensic maybe professional, and you're finding out to help, that's fine. But if you're finding out to destroy, that can be quite dangerous. And so at the end of the day, I would like to let you accept if you know of your weaknesses. And if you don't like what you see in yourself, it's time to change. The self-image is very, very critical. And it is built from a tender age. Like if a parent wants their children to show certain values in later childhood, teenage, and adulthood, then they will instill them in those formative stages. Very critical. That's a parent who is aware. That's a parent who is reflective. There are also situations whereby you may find that you've joined another system that is going to build your self-image. Don't be defensive at first, because what I've found, especially with children, teenagers who come from dysfunctional families without boundaries, they find change with a lot of resistance, and sometimes they get into trouble. And so if you're also watching me and you may find that you have trouble with discipline, time management, patience, correction, or constructive feedback, just reflect on your past and see. We do have situations whereby you may find that you want to change your future. Maybe today you don't like it. And that's a third component, the ideal self. The ideals that we set for ourselves are very critical. And it doesn't matter where you are or where you come from. I remember setting very high standards for me when I was very young, living in the slum with a lot of abject poverty surrounding me. And I told myself, I'm not going to live like this. And I said, I'm going to work hard. I will dream big. I will plan how my future is going to be bright. And I'm sure, I believe the energy that you can attach to that will definitely help you. I did it. I am a witness. Coming from nothingness, nowhere, no mentor, no nothing. But believing that I can dream big, believing that I can pursue my dreams. And I want to tell you, you can pursue your dreams. Those of you that want to cut down their weight, kindly, please do. Have a plan, be committed, be focused. You'll definitely have that. And so one of the things that I like to tell people is that your ideal can become true. If you believe, you remain committed, you believe it, you remain visionary, and then you have people that you can work with you to get to your dream, to get to your vision. Very critical. It could even be a behavior you want to change. It's still doable. It could be new relationships that you want to embrace. It's still doable. There are relationships you want to drop. You can do that. There are behaviors you want to drop because they are not helpful to you. They are destroying you and they're not helping you to reach your goal. You can drop them. Could be new skills you want to acquire for future. Go ahead and do it. I remember changing my career of 10 years in teaching to become a counseling psychologist. It looked crazy for many people when I went back to school and a lower grade, a lower certificate from a degree to back to a diploma. But I knew what I wanted, and this is what I do today. I enjoy, I'm passionate about it. I spread it, and I impact more lives than I could have maybe impacted as a teacher. And I'm not limited to population. I'm not limited to who I serve. It's the power of asking yourself, what is my ideal self? And in most cases, if you also have parents who are reflective, parents who are aware, parents who really want their children to be somebody that they will be proud of in future, they will start planting that early in advance. School systems the same. Counselors who also do human growth and development, and those who are also interested in changing and molding people to realize their dreams, they will consider that. And the fourth one is the sense of value that you attach to yourself, and that is self-esteem. How valuable are you to yourself? What value do you attach to yourself? There are some people who think being valuable is a lot of money that I have around me. There are those who think is having big houses. There's those who think is having a big name with a title. I don't know, when you miss those things, do you now have low self-esteem? Some is talking about great parents, great career, great country, anything. But does that really add value to who you are? And here I want to go deeper and ask you, if all those things are taken away, who remains? And so the self-esteem component is very critical. And majority of people are distressed, are depressed, are stressed, are very, very, very unhappy, because every day they are looking at what adds value to themselves. And if it is minus, then their self-esteem goes down. And so there's a challenge here for you, my friend. Look at what is going to make you valuable. And I want to tell you for a fact, it is when you discover in this world that which you can do every day that is meaningful, not only to yourself, not only to significant others, but to other people. And then trust the process. And as you trust the process, don't be ignorant. If you want to be a great motivational speaker, read widely in the area you want to be known in. If you want to be a great engineer, read early, go to school, go to the right school, college, and fight very hard for that. You will be that. Definitely. This universe has all choices. You just spoil for choice. Probably what people lack is a plan, a strategy. And these are things I'm saying, given a chance of giving this kind of education and coaching is what I would love to do. Because having like highly 80% coached myself and coaching others, I have mentored young ones, I have mentored teenagers, young adults, and I have seen how this can turn out to be. But this is education that is lacking in many institutions, especially in my continent, where if you're good, you can take care of yourself. If you're a child, very few. And the school system taking up that is not enough, because you can have a school system that is shaping this child to a great career, but at the end of the day, the school will come to an end. So I urge parents, kindly take up your mantle, take up your child and work with them. No one else will work with your child like you do. The teachers, kindly, when you get children from vulnerable families, you get children who have no one to mentor them. Kindly, teachers, I know you play a big role, and I had my great teachers in primary and high school. So can we all, the systems that care, help us? And when we help a child to grow and develop functionally, at the end of the day, that is going to be a product of the society. And when we have such products in the society, I want to tell you that society is going to thrive, that society is going to develop, that society is going to be happy. Now, the four components, the body image, the self-image, the ideal self, and the self-esteem, they operate in three domains or three kingdoms. The public domain, these are the things that you don't mind talking about yourself, or things that people know and they don't bother you. Like now, the way you look, I can't change the way I look. I can't hide the way I look, right? And there are certain things about you. Maybe if you're a teacher, you're a professional counselor, you're a footballer, that doesn't really worry you. And even if people talk about it, it doesn't bother you. But there are certain things in the middle kingdom or domain that we call the private domain. These are the things you're not very comfortable talking about to anyone. And if you do, it is to selected few and for a reason. It's about your safety. And this is where we say, especially in Africa, because we are trying to embrace counseling, that if there are things that really trouble you and you have no one to talk to, then the next person that you can see, the next professional, the nearest and the best going forward is actually a counseling psychologist or a psychologist. Mostly a counseling psychologist, talking therapy, just sharing yourself under confidentiality. You will find you will get deeper awareness of who you are. Those things that we remove from our private, they automatically go to the public. And so our inner secrets that kill us, thinking no one has ever gone through what you've gone through, they damage you. And that is why you find very many people, because September is the month of suicide prevention. The whole world, we are trying to save a life, to restore human dignity. You will realize that very many people have so many secrets in the private domain. If you keep secrets like for your brand, copyright material, well and good. But there's somewhere along the way, there's someone you're going to tell, you're going to share with. But secrets that damage you, really, they have no value keeping them private. You need a counselor where you can share in safety, who can work with you, coach you, mentor you, and help you to heal. Some of the situations are very traumatic. You need a therapist to help you process that trauma. And then the other inner one, the innermost, wish I could draw it, but just imagine a big circle and a dark spot in the middle, shaded. Yeah, that could be now the part that you may even not be able to understand. And I tell people to analyze their common patterns of behavior, common fantasies, common dreams, and try. If you can't analyze alone, please start writing them down. You may sit with a counseling psychologist, a clinical psychologist, or a psychoanalyst and try to unpack. And you may realize some of them have what we call a true meaning. Others, it could be maybe just superficial, like we talk about dreams that come true and dreams that relate to our everyday life, like implicit meaning in some dreams and explicit meaning in others. Like when I'm going to take an exam tomorrow and I dream about failing or passing, it's basically what is happening to me right now. And that can only give me anxiety that we call real anxiety. There are things that are already there. But there are those dreams that you can have, and they are so repetitive and they scare you to death. And those dreams are likely to cause you neurotic anxiety. Anxiety when you wake up, you feel tired, you feel like whatever you've dreamt about is formless. You may feel like you lack a sense of direction, you're very exhausted. That is neurotic anxiety. We do have another form of anxiety that is moral anxiety, especially those who are brought up thinking that everything must be straight, perfect. Even you must be perfect, morally upright, holier than thou. And then you make some mistakes, or maybe you made some mistakes in your earlier years. And these dreams that keep coming to you are dreams that are out to punish you. Oh, you're going to lose it. You'll be punished. Things are going to be horrible for you. But maybe you've never been able to relate that. Maybe one time I'm going to come here and pack in a very simplified way the meaning of our dreams. And so that inner part of you that you are still unpacking bit by bit, it's exciting. You don't have to run away. You don't have to. And I like to tell people, analyze your daily fantasies, your dreams, your behaviors that are quite repetitive, ideas that keep forming and coming. Or you may find yourself, there are certain things that are uniquely you. Did they exist even from long time ago in your unconscious, subconscious? So there are people who really get anxious and they cannot relate what's going on. And I've talked about those 3 types of anxieties: neurotic, moral, and real. So it's important that we learn that the hidden part of us is not really hidden. It's only time that we need to allocate. And as I wrap up, I would like to tell you that if you know you're growing, becoming a more effective person, a more functional person, because we don't have a perfect person, your inner circle, the hidden domain, will expand, going to the private, from the private, going to the public. And I'm not telling you to tell everybody everything. Sometimes we have told our visions to people, our dreams to people, and they have killed them. Probably by not believing in you and down talking you, you know? And so that's why we're saying you can choose who to tell. But the minute you tell, becomes a public material. It doesn't really bother you anymore. And that is where you find that human stories really move people. Because most people are like, those stories are not stories that you're supposed to tell us, but you're telling them. The human narratives, they move the world. And we want us to be talking about our challenges. We want to be sharing about what really pains us, so that we become free and free indeed. So today, as I wrap up, I have told you, I'm unpacking your self-concept. Who brought you up? Who speaks loudest in your life today? Is it your mother, your father? Is it your teacher? Is it your spiritual leader? Is it your peers? Is it your community? Or is it your political system? Is it your faith? In your 4 components, the body image, the self-image, the ideal self, the self-esteem, none of these can be on their own so exaggerated. Try to strike a balance and see how life would be. And last but not least, I want you to know there is no one like you. You are the only one, the unique you. Start celebrating the who you are, and you realize the beauty of living with yourself, accepting yourself, believing in yourself, and extending yourself to other people. Bless you. Continue subscribing to my YouTube channel, Dr. Susan Gitau. Like, share, and just tap on that bell for any notifications. I love you. I mind about you, your families, and where you come from. God bless you. I would like you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dr. Susan Gitau, where you will access mental health tips every week, every month, every year. Thank you.